Welcome to Signals from Pittsburgh. This is Mr. Wills.
And this is Brittany.
In this episode, we're going to do a deep dive into one of my favorite movies of 2019. It's a psychosexual, neon-tinged, dirty punk rock tale of Bliss. This is directed by Joe Begos. This movie is proof that indie horror cinema is alive and well. I've loved it since I initially saw it at an event that I attend annually, Shock Around the Clock, the 24-hour horror movie marathon in Columbus, Ohio, put on by my friend Joe Neff. Go and check out their website at www.horrormarathon.com. They also run a sci-fi marathon. Obviously, due to the COVID-19 crisis, things have been postponed. But Joe is still doing live streams on Facebook and kind of going over the history of the decades-long running Shock Around the Clock and the marathons that have come before it. So just to give you a little background on the kind of things they show, I've seen everything there in one day, from Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman to Serbian film and everything in between. And last year, they debuted this beauty of carnage and mayhem, Joe Begos' Bliss. How did you hear about this film, Britt?
Well, I was introduced to this movie through you, Mr. Wills. We were going off on some sort of tangent one night, talked about movies as usual, and you told me about your experience with the marathon and how much you ended up liking this movie, and you got me all jazzed up about it. So we ended up watching it pretty shortly after that, which I'm glad I took your word for it and took you up on it, because I ended up loving the movie. It was a blast to watch, beginning to end. It was so much fun. But like you mentioned, Bliss is an artsy, just roller coaster ride of a film that takes a common horror creature and really makes it its own.
I agree. Joe Begos, to me, is one of those directors that's clearly influenced by all the great cult directors that came before him, like John Carpenter. But he manages to have his own cinematic style and voice. And I also enjoyed watching it with you, knowing what was coming and seeing your reactions. That was half the fun of watching it again. At this time, it's still on Shudder. It may not be by the time you listen to this recording, but regardless, check it out. Rent it. So without further ado, this is Bliss.
So, the premise of the movie is it's about Desi Donahue, who is you'd think is your typical hipster, druggy artist, bohemian, if that's still a word people use, bohemian lifestyle kind of girl. But she's just like, she comes off the screen, and it's very easy to make that character like vapid and hollow. I think the girl that plays her, she does an awesome job. Dora Madison. So the next thing she's in, I'm in. She was in VFW in like a smaller role, but she just commands. I just wanted to say that up front, that Dora made this movie for me. Like her portrayal of Desi, it just, there are some parts of this movie that could be laughable if not acted, with sincerity, and I think she brings that.
I agree. I think I will follow her and see what else she's in, because I do think I hope she gets picked up. I really do hope she gets picked up and put into a lot of other things, especially after this. I don't know. I feel like this and BFW are getting some attention.
It's getting traction, and I'm pretty sure this played at Fantasia Fest, and so I know this is going to be a gem, and people are going to gravitate to this as they find it. So I can't recommend it enough.
I love when a director will use the same actors in different roles throughout multiple projects. I just love when directors find a group of people they want to keep using. And I mean, she's the main character in this one, but like we were saying earlier, VFW, she's kind of a side character, but she still kills it. I don't know. I love when directors do that and kind of bring people back that they really like and include them in the movie, even if it's small. But
yeah, Graham Skipper. He's great in this, just as the drug dealer. He's not your typical sleazy drug dealer character, Hadrian is his name,
Hadrian.
which I thought was a weird name, but I thought it was Adrian at first, but apparently it's Hadrian. But regardless,
The H is silent. Right?
the H could be silent. I could be pronouncing it wrong. Let us know if wherever this gets posted, and if there's comments, let us know.
Yeah,
if I'm
notorious for speaking people's names.
you speaking
Saying-
people.
I'm notorious for pronouncing things wrong. So
Me talk rough.
me talk bad.
But yeah, no, I thought like his portrayal, he's just the goofy, lovable drug dealer, but actually has a little heart.
A goofball, just like a dude that you'd hang out with.
He
I don't know. He's very genuine. I feel like anybody could be his friend just based off of his little time.
I want to be his friend after this.
Let's be friends. Let's get a
Graham
get a hold of
Skipper.
us.
Graham Skipper, come on, we'll be in your movies. And also Joe, if you're listening. Not to shill too much, but Joe Begos. So the story starts out with Desi, if I may unpack it here. She needs rent. She has I believe $10,000 advance from a gallery owner who needs her painting. She's way overdue, and she's actually way overdue on rent too. So she goes to see her sleazy agent and tries to get a little more money from him because she needs money to pay her rent. And obviously, money and time are the one things that she doesn't have. And then in the process of getting turned down by her agent, she gets dropped by her agent, and then proceeds to see Hadrian, our favorite drug dealer, and this new drug named Bliss. And in light of the other drugs that she was offered, I wrote down some of the names of the drugs because I thought they were hilarious. Let me see.
I like his description too, this drug dealer. He has such such a sweet description of each. Like each one is one of his children.
Some kids you want to play baseball with, and some kids you want to read to. So he has different uses for different drugs, and I appreciate that. He's a man who knows his product, and that's, there's something to be said about that. But some of the negated drugs by our heroine are Tennessee Black, Black Dynamite, and Diablo, which I thought, those all sounded like fun drugs. And in the movie themselves, they kind of look like they're just bags of coal. They're very undescript. I guess I don't do.
Even Bliss, wasn't it black?
Bliss is black.
Yeah.
So Bliss is the drug she agrees to settle on. That he says that you don't really want any part of it, or if you do, you got to do a little bit. And she proceeds to do a big line. But I've never done cocaine laced with DMT, so I'm not sure what it's supposed to look like. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be black.
No, I have no idea. Somebody tell us.
Yeah, all of our drug connoisseurs out there, please, somebody tell us if they've, hooted some black cocaine. But so she does the Bliss. The cinematography you had brought up earlier when we were talking off radio, that you love the cinematography in this, like the transitions, and but can you kind of elaborate on that for the audience of what you liked, especially when she first hits the Bliss?
Yeah, I mean, that's when she first hits the Bliss is like the first moment in the movie that really, I guess, struck me cinematography wise. Because you don't see a harness cam used too much, and a harness cam is, if you don't know, it's a pretty much a harness strapped to your waist usually, and they're able to put like a huge camera on it, like all the fancy pants stuff.
And actors get pleasure out of this? Or is it's more of a technical thing?
It's more of a technical thing.
Gotcha. Yeah, all right.
I don't know. Maybe some actors get pleasure out of it.
Yeah, okay.
But, yeah, usually you'd have a camera guy on the side, like, helping you, because you can't really move around with it by yourself, especially in the scene where she takes a hit of the Bliss and just falls backwards immediately.
Yeah, it knocks her on her ass. We've all been there.
Yeah, it knocked her straight on her ass. And so I loved that they used it in this scenario, because I thought it was very fitting for taking a big line of Bliss that you were told to take it easy on. Yeah, so that was the first moment that really struck me, and you had instantly visual changes, which I think were really did it justice.
Yeah.
You kind of feel how she might be feeling, especially on the DMT side.
Absolutely. It's the closest thing I've seen in a long time to a visual drug trip, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like we mentioned Mandy, obviously that whole movie is a drug trip, but this is it's a specific, I think they nailed it. They went for their specific feeling for this drug, and it's conveyed really well. And as we'll get further into the story, spoiler alerts if you haven't gathered that already. But as we get further in the story, you'll see they kind of switch things up and kind of callbacks for, you know, what's the Bliss and what else is affecting her as we go on. But one of the favorite lines we were talking was she says, "I need to go," and in the next scene, she's just partying her ass off.
Yeah, she seems to have a little bit of a conflict. I don't know. She almost seems like she wants to be convinced to stay.
She's kind of a party girl. I mean,
she's trying to be a little bit responsible, and multiple times she tries to leave this party after she, you know, kind of snaps out of it from that first hit of Bliss.
Yeah, and she wakes up hours later, and Hadrian even says to her, "It's like, shit, I told you to take a little. You're still here." Yeah. And then that's when we get introduced to a mutual friend of them, Courtney, who seems to be, you know, I think the name is pretty on the nose because I don't know.
She's a real Courtney.
She is a real Courtney. Like, we've all seen Courtneys. Yeah. No offense to Courtneys out there, but she's definitely a Courtney. But
it's okay, I'm a Britney. I don't think I said that. So.
Brittany.
Brittany, Courtney, we had like 10 of them in every class growing up.
They're out there. They're in a good way, I guess. If you want to party, if you want to do some Bliss.
Party, call it Courtney.
So Courtney has a boyfriend Ronnie, I'm not sure, he's from somewhere in Eastern Europe. He's definitely got like the Eurotrash vibe going on. Mm-hmm. Full leather, dark glasses, and just he has some kind of indiscriminate accent. I can't put my finger on.
Yeah, I couldn't really figure it out.
She seems to be driving the bus in that relationship.
Oh yeah,
though.
For sure. He barely really says anything, and he's really just kind of there.
He's there he does pepper in a few comments here and there, but yeah, he's kind of just there.
He does participate in a few things too. And some scenes coming up.
What does he participate in actually?
Apparently, they've had some run-ins before. They're pretty familiar with each other.
They're old friends. They're old friends, and as you run into old friends at parties, things escalate and they develop as they do, especially when substances like Bliss or alcohol or cocaine or marijuana are involved. And I'm not judging. I am not.
We get a nice like super cut of just her partying after she decides to stay, where we get like a bunch of fade transitions between her just doing more drugs and having like alcohol just poured into her mouth.
It seems she relents to this because Desi, as a character, is very strong-willed. That is one thing. Nobody tells her anything. She drives. While Courtney may drive Ronnie, Desi drives life. No one fucks with Desi.
She drives everyone else.
She drives everyone else. She drives a lot. Actually, to bring that up, in this movie, she does drive a lot, and it's shot beautifully, I thought. It's really cool and stylized. And it kind of reminded me of, similar to the shots of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood of Brad Pitt driving. I love people driving, if I can go on a side note. Yeah, you mentioned that before. Just like shots of cool people driving. I could watch an entire movie
all I can think of is how much of a pain in the ass a car rig is to hook up. And I'm just I hate but I love the result. The results are good.
Well done. But yes, so, time well spent. So yeah, her and Courtney, as we were saying, things escalate, and Ronnie gets involved, and they have what the French call a ménage à trois. And
they sure do.
It's shot really like sexy and seductive, and there's like even like a little ass eating, like analingus, which you don't see in movie. I mean, not like just straight up horror movies. This isn't like an adult movie.
You don't see people go there too often.
So I appreciated that little touch. I mean, maybe I'm implying that's what I thought I saw. There were a lot of cross dissolves, like you said. There was a lot of fading and a lot of
fading and mixing,
and flesh and there was a lot. This movie there is a story, and it's a great story, but you could have told this story many ways, and this story kind of has been told, not quite to...
Makes use of your senses, that's for sure.
It is definitely a ride. It is a sensory overload.
Experience.
Yeah, it's great. I loved it.
I love it, and yeah, I'm definitely a sucker for just great visuals. A story could suck, and it doesn't in this case, but a story could suck, but if it looks really cool, then you suckered me in.
Yeah, as long as we're going somewhere, I can be suckered in. You can get me with cool visuals. But this story really goes somewhere. So they do participate in the threesome, and
yeah, I mean, you get a couple seconds of it's really easy to miss. Actually, I missed it the first time. But yeah, during the peak of this threesome,
the climax, if you will,
the climax, you could
bloody
say,
climax.
You start getting maybe I think you get a couple strange audio cues, undertones underneath the music that's already there. And you kind of get like a change in camera.
Like moans?
Too.
Like, oh.
Yeah. Those were there.
Okay, all right.
No, but you get a little bit of a change in tone for the climax. And you see, if you're looking, you see that she's kind of covered in blood on one side of her, along with Courtney having blood all over her face. But it's easy to miss. They kind of sneak it in there. It's very subtle.
I think Ronnie snuck in there, and then the blood was also snuck in there.
Yeah.
Ronnie to me just seems like a, Eurotrash date rapist. I don't even know how he and Courtney got found out. How did Courtney get with her, Ronnie? I mean,
yeah, you mentioned that. You kind of I kind of want to know their story.
What's their story? I imagine she went to like some Euro rave, like a Blade 2 kind of rave, and he was just there, and she was bored. Maybe, but maybe it's cooler than that.
Who knows?
Maybe it's like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead of rave vampires. Who knows? But moving right along. What do you do after you have a Eurotrash drug-fueled vampire orgy? What would you do? Or possible vampire orgy? We really don't know, but there was some blood implied. So.
Well, you know that I probably worked up an appetite.
So what's the first thing you grab? What do you grab?
So, I mean, I'm a big fan of tacos and burritos personally, so I really resonated with this. But yeah, we follow Desi. She leaves the house, hops in her car. Next thing we know, she's just eating a freaking burrito on the sidewalk.
I mean, after
just refueling after a hell of a night. And I resonate with it so much. I just loved it.
Have you had Eurotrash Vampire 3?
Yeah, the last time that happened to me, the first thing I needed was a huge burrito.
Okay. Burritos are good. So, I mean, I'm not going to knock a burrito. I wonder what kind of burrito. Do you think, because we don't really see Desi eat too much, do you think she's vegan? I mean, we're in LA. She seems artistic. Nothing against vegans. I have many vegan friends. But do you think it was a chicken burrito? Well, we should ask Joe Begos. I'm going to email Joe Begos and see what kind of burrito it was.
Or something.
Hey, Joe,
he might actually answer.
He may answer that question.
Or maybe be like, I don't know, man. I didn't think about that. Shut up.
I'm curious to know. He would say shut up. I hope that's his response. I hope that is his response.
No, it would be interesting, though, if she was a vegan, seeing where this goes throughout the movie. Yeah,
I've never thought. I just had that thought now. Maybe she's a vegan. Huh? So then she kind of is in this daze, it seems, after, this hard night of partying, maybe like a hangover, but something more than that, She's got to work on her painting. She's got this advance. She's trying to get her rent money. She's trying to get her life on track as an artist, and she hit this block, but all of a sudden she kind of has a surge of inspiration, if you will, and the art just starts to appear out of her, and it kind of just, you would get the sense of disorientation and her just going for it. And then her apartment, by the way, the production design in this entire movie, my hat's off to those people, the set decorators, the art decorators, sound design. This whole movie just has a cool feel to it. It's I know it's shot in LA or parts of California, and it's just like got that cool vibe without being, douchey. Like, it's just got its own. I love when movies do that. Just vibe movies is how I refer to them, but this had a story, like you were saying. Sometimes style can suck you in, but this had a cool vibe and a great story. But yeah, a cool scene. She's just sitting out, kind of looking at the sunset, and we get introduced to our buddy Clive, who at this point we meet earlier in the movie, but it's just kind of, we think, who is this guy? He's kind of a flake, but this is her boyfriend, Clive. He's kind of, I don't know, not all there. He's not like an idiot, but
he seems kind of like, I don't know, airheaded, or I wouldn't say bubbly, but
he's like a stoner. He's the stoner boyfriend. If she had a couch, which I don't think she has a couch, but he would be the boyfriend on the couch, I believe. And he kind of skates by life, and I kind of get
the guy that always asks for a ride, asks for favors,
asking for a ride.
Just help me out. Like,
yeah, I just really.
Like, you're so cool, thanks. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So at this point in the movie, she's been dropped by her agent, and she's had this three-way. She's calling Clive because I think she maybe feels guilty about the threesome. Probably not. I don't think she feels guilty about anything.
Oh, is this when she goes
into the mirror
and kind of like remembers or thinks she remembers something from the
night
before? Yeah, because she goes and stands and looks at herself in the mirror, and she has kind of like flashes of bleeding, and just thinking a little bit about the night before, but not in a regretful way, but just kind of in a what the fuck happened?
Yeah, in a haze.
Yeah, a haze, but she does seem like she's a little,
I don't want to say remorseful, but apprehensive. Like, what did I do?
No,
what's happening to me?
Yeah, not in a regretful way.
Not in a regretful way.
Just what did I do, man? Like,
right.
Shit. And she seems a little uncomfortable, so she hops in the shower.
Right. And then after that, Clive comes over, and it just cuts to them having very boring sex. She just looks so she's not into it.
Yeah, she's like, can you just finish so I can get back to my painting?
I've got to paint something, bro, and you've probably got to go.
You've been here too long.
You got to go to work.
30 seconds too long.
30 seconds. Let's just ground and pound and get out of here. But she doesn't send him home. He's a good boyfriend, because after coming over for inadequate sex, he takes her to the bar, and where she consumes more bliss in the bathroom.
Yeah.
There's a lot of mirror, and you notice this. There's a lot of mirror play in this
there is.
movie.
There is even, like, earlier in the movie when she's deciding, because she had been clean for a while before she went over to buy the Bliss. Mm-hmm. And even back then, there's a scene where you're seeing her deciding what to do, and it's her and her reflection in the mirror and the drug dealer. Mm-hmm. So I think, I don't know, the first use of mirrors, I think it's almost signifying her just making a decision.
Like a duality, maybe? Or
a duality between, like, right now I'm technically still clean at this very moment, and I made an effort to be, and I'm choosing to end that.
But I think it comes maybe from her artistic struggle to create,
Yeah, well, she's struggling to be able to paint without being on drugs, too, so.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, there's a duality there, I think, and there's a lot of use of mirrors and reflections, I think, to kind of signal major diverging points for her, or even struggles between, like, oh, should I be doing this or not?
Right.
Like, what am I going to do? I don't know.
I would just...
And then she does, she decides. But, yeah, when we do cut to the bar, she's taking more Bliss, and she's standing there in the bathroom next to the mirror.
I hate this. I'm sure you hate this. You're at the bar. This doesn't happen to dudes at the bar, but it happens, like, to me in other places. Like, people just, like, try to rip the handle off the bathroom when you're in there, and some girl comes in and, like, starts to give her shit, and she's like, pretty much, go fuck yourself, and tells her to fuck off, and she becomes very aggressive towards people. You can see there's, like, she starts out with an utter disdain for people, but it seems now it's more aggressive.
An active
aggression. Yeah, there's the fucking fan. One of her fans comes up, her and Clive are drinking at the bar, and he's like, oh, I love your shit, and I'm paraphrasing here, but, I love you, and she's essentially tells him just to fuck off, which I thought was, like, not cool, but, and what can you do? You wanted the fame. That's all I'm saying. And, of course, our favorite vampire sex duo shows up at the bar to
happen to show up at the same bar.
They just, I mean, this is probably a cantina for Eurotrash vampire sex. I was looking for the Star Wars shot where we'd see different kind of, maybe there's, gay werewolves, or, there could be mummies that are into S&M and leather. No, Joe, feel free to steal any of these ideas. But yeah, but no, it was cool. They show up and they talk about a little dalliance they had with the trans person in the car, and they seem like they're a very active couple. So I wonder if that person transitioned also into being a vampire.
Good point. Who knows?
Yeah, also a movie I would watch. Very interesting.
I don't know. I don't know how irresponsible they are with.
They seem pretty irresponsible, and they could have eaten him. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious.
He did. He was very.
I kind of want to go back and listen to that scene.
He was enamored. He said it was a woman, but then he reached into and found the tree trunk, and that excited him even more. Yeah. So I mean, who knows? How that person identified, and bless them either way. But I hope they made it out of that car. Okay, bless them either way. But yeah, then she kind of leads on to, Courtney, back it up a little bit, leads on that they had the three-way, and, while I think, I don't know if Clive was necessarily jealous, but he seemed more annoyed by Courtney. She's a professional bad influence. I've had friends like that in the past where it's like, they're not bad people, but you don't want to take them home from the bar. Let's hang out at the bar.
They always seem to get you, into something you weren't planning on doing that night.
Right. Let's hang at the bar. I don't want you around my kid. I don't have kids, but if I did, they're not gonna meet you because I'm not being judgmental. I'm just saying there's an audience. Kids aren't the
Kids aren't your target audience.
Kids aren't the target audience of Ronnie and Courtney. They go to the rock show because at this point she's still not thinking she's gonna hit her deadline. She's still concerned about getting this painting done, but also just kind of dulling her senses, I think, by partying. She's just, which is cool. She's the total party. She's not a dumb party girl, but she fucking likes to party. She's living the artist life.
I don't think I could keep up with her. Although she makes it look kind of fun.
She does make it look fun. I could definitely not keep up with her.
But then I think of how shitty I'm gonna feel the next day. I'm like,
I would be dead.
That hard.
I would be a fucking zombie. fuck a vampire.
I think I'm done partying that hard.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm beyond that. But Desi, you party for the rest of us.
Yeah. So
they go to this rock show, and there's a pretty cool band playing. They kind of look like Rammstein, but they sound like Bauhaus. So I'll have to research and look more into the band. The music in this movie is great. Mm-hmm. I really like the background music, the soundtrack, the score. It's not overly electronic, but it's kind of cool and metally and stoner vibe to it, and I really dug it.
Yeah, there's a lot of synth elements in it.
Yeah.
They kind of match the editing. As you'll see as things go, the editing and the music obviously go hand in hand, but I have a few things to say about that at the end. But
oh, okay. Well, yeah.
We'll come back around to that.
Come back around to that. But yeah, Steve Moore, that's the guy who did the music. Shout out to Steve Moore. Good job. You fucking killed it. And all the bands on this soundtrack were banging. They had Electric Wizard. Had a song in there that was pretty fucking banging. And there was some other tunes. But just check it out. I'm going to probably look for the soundtrack on vinyl. Speaking of vinyl, Desi, early on, when she goes to see her agent, is wearing a Death Waltz t-shirt, which is an awesome record label that, as all horror fans know, put out cool soundtracks, remastered soundtracks, dig them out of obscurity and repress them. So shout out to Death Waltz there. That's pretty cool.
I just want to talk a little bit about Desi's lines.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about Desi's lines. With the one she's snorting, or
her lines of dialogue?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the other lines.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of wonder how much freedom they got with improving those lines.
Yeah.
Because it just seems way too natural a lot of the times to be written out that way. Or maybe it isn't. I don't know. Some people can write really good dialogue. But I'm just kind of curious about how much of it was improv. But anyway, she has a couple really good lines that just make me laugh.
What are some of your favorite lines? Do you have them?
What did she say? Well, I love when she's talking about the douchebag. I want to meet some douchebag. I don't know if you wrote that one down.
The douchebag named Dante Suck my dick and disappoint me.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, that's a great line. Suck my dick and disappoint me is a classic line.
A classic line, but the way she says it is just so good.
Her delivery.
Her delivery is like key.
Kills. Yeah, you could plug someone in there, and that line could just go over like fucking flat. But no, the way she kills this movie. She has a couple other lines too. Yeah, what were you say? Yeah, one of mine was. One of my favorite quotes or lines in the movie is when she's getting accosted earlier in the film by her landlord about the money, her back rent, and she essentially tells him, her agent. The line is, "They're fucking me, I'm fucking you, we're all fucking fucked, I'm fucking sorry." And it's not, once again, it's not the line, it's how she delivers it. Yeah. It's all about her delivery.
But I feel like we all resonate with that exact feeling.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you're just fucking fucked.
Yeah, you are fucked. Absolute delivery of dialogue is one of my favorite high points in this entire movie. Like, she kills it.
So yeah, she's convinced. She's going to go. She's going to go out with them. Clive's going to go home and sleep on the couch.
Clive is going to... I don't know if Clive has a couch. He might go... I'm not
I'm going to go find a couch to sleep on.
I'm not convinced that Clive has a home. Like,
he just floats around all day.
We don't ever see Clive...
He lives in his backseat. Or her backseat.
He might live in her backseat. She drives a lot. I feel like he would be bagged. I feel... Maybe he's like under...
He just lives in the trunk.
In the trunk, yeah. That's probably where he lives. So, once again, they hang out. There's more trippiness that ensues. And then she realizes she definitely needs more drugs. So she goes... she's running out of Bliss. Because she parties at an alarming rate.
Yeah.
I would not want to have an intervention for this girl. Because...
No. Oh my God, I feel like she'd kill you.
She'd just rip your head off. She would rip your head off. But yeah, and they're doing drugs in the bathroom. Courtney goes in there with her. And... some unsuspecting, partier who's maybe there to see.
Maybe an Ashley. No.
Could be.
Sorry, Ashley.
Could be Ashley. Could be, Rhonda. Rhonda's a popular name, right? That's everybody.
Yeah,
Rhonda. She's not 60 years old, but no, she comes in and she proceeds to get fucking brutally murdered and sucked by fucking Courtney.
Desi is like freaking out. She's like, "Did I just act? What?
What did I witness?"
I don't think she believes that she saw it.
Yeah, I think
she thinks she's probably ODing.
Yeah.
Because she's just like, she looks genuinely scared. She's like, "I'm fucking dying right now."
She is scared. She thinks she's dying. She's having, whatever transitional withdrawal you're going through, and the weird things happen to you when you hook up with Euro trash vampires. And I think she just can't fathom what she's seeing. And then actual bloody kisses. So shout out to Typo Negative. Yeah, Courtney crawls over to her and kisses her on the lips with this Ashley, we'll call her, blood, still fresh. So I thought that was cool. I like that. I like the mystique of, the vampire. And
I like at this point how, just like a bloody kiss rejuvenates her the way it does.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a small amount of blood, technically, and as soon as she gets a little bit of it from that kiss, she is, back and ready to go.
Yeah.
They're ready to go out there and dance.
It's the bump. It's the bump she needs. Yeah. And the funny...
And we'll see how this escalates, too.
Yeah, we do. And the funny thing is, I feel like she's in denial of what she just witnessed. She's just on the ride. I think she's refusing to buy this. Maybe it's a hallucination, but I don't know. So they go out. There's an awesome musical transition here.
You start seeing some camera transitions too. We get back into the slow rotations and slow fades while she's partying. And it ends up fading into her getting home and painting, doesn't it?
Yeah, she gets
over top of her dancing.
Well, she gets home and then there's a scene of her. There's this. To go into painting a little bit, there's a canvas, and it's just like a red blank canvas that is slowly amassing throughout the film, different elements to it, not to give too much away right away, and she goes home to that canvas.
The painting itself, as she's painting, and kind of coming to the end of her, outpouring of creativity that she suddenly has, she's kind of taking her painting in, And the way it's lit, it's just kind of pulsating, like almost like the painting has a heartbeat. It's like it's alive.
The painting, it's
like at least to her, she's alive again.
Yeah.
And she's back. She's back.
She's
painting again.
She's painting again. But then...
So I really appreciated that. I thought that was a cool little thing that they did to bring life to that scene, or that shot.
Yeah, that this movie, like, I can't say it enough, the style of this movie and the production is fucking great. It's just, it's cool. And while it may get called out for having a style, at least it has a style and it sticks with it. And the colors that this movie paints in, I love. I think a team made this movie and you can feel it. And they're all artists in their own right, so I thought that was cool. But especially that scene. Then she wakes up in another great scene, naked, covered in blood, on a checkered floor. Which I was like, maybe kind of Twin Peaks-ish. I don't know.
Yeah, I do love her checkered floor.
Her checkered floor. Yeah, her apartment. She's got to be painting. That entire $10,000, I believe it is. Is all going to 1 month's rent because that apartment is like a warehouse. It's huge and it's beautiful, and she has like, I don't know. I don't know.
Those artsy like studio apartments. They don't go for $600 a month. I don't know what they're trying to pull.
I don't know what she's doing. I don't know how she got that apartment. I don't know. Is it rent control? Who knows?
Maybe. Oh.
Are utilities included?
Let's ask.
So
another tweet. Were utilities?
Were utilities included in Desi's apartment? Inquiring minds want to know.
What was Desi's first childhood memory?
So, like you said, we see the art pulsating, and more has appeared. She wakes up. The person who's actually commissioned her to paint this, Nikki St. Jane, shows up. Says she's fucking done. She has art of hers that hasn't sold. She is not convinced she's going to have this done. Her agent dropped her. And, Desi says, no, I fucking dropped him. And then Nikki St. Jane gets a view of the painting and is just enamored with it. And she's like, she has 3 days to finish it at this point. Mm-hmm. And she says, you think you're going to get it done in 3 days? She says, that's what I'm fucking trying to do. So the partying commences.
Yeah, she ends up getting the advance, I think, doesn't she?
I think that money had been blown on all the drugs. Or she has some of it. I know she needed more money.
Either way, she's back in like the good graces for the time being of her client.
Yeah, I believe she's getting more money, but I believe she got like half the advance. She definitely got some money and she blew it all on drugs.
Oh, yeah.
So, this movie has a lot of nudity in it. And as a dude, I am a guy, and I appreciate the female form. Not in a creepy way, but like when it's done artistically. And I thought this movie was cool. It wasn't the driving force of me enjoying this movie, but I thought the way Desi moves her body and uses her sexuality, not to necessarily seduce people, but more in a primal way. Like, I liked it. I thought it was very cool. It was very animalistic and primal and more in touch with like supernatural element.
Yeah, she seems very in touch with that and with herself.
Yeah.
Just totally comfortable. That's a really good description. I like that. She doesn't come off as somebody who would like use her sexuality to get something. I feel like she would feel like she's better than that.
Yeah,
but she's also kind of like naturally
sexual.
Yeah.
She's a sexual person, but she owns it. It's not to her, I feel Courtney is just kind of,
Oh yeah, like a little too much.
She's a bit much. She's extra. As the kids say, she's a bit extra. There's a great scene where it's shot from over, and you see an upside down cross, and then her laid out on her bed as like a cross, so it kind of evokes crucifixion, which a lot of vampire lore believe, they became that way by drinking the blood of the Christ. I think that was in Demon Knight. I think it showed up in other places, but definitely Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight, they were drinking Jesus' blood. Mm-hmm. And then
she's in the bathroom, and she's looking in the mirror again, and she's kind of like having flashes of things that may have happened. She's not sure, and she's starting to have the hunger. She's starting She's starting to get a little sweaty.
For burritos? Is she getting sweaty?
Yeah, sweaty burritos. No,
I wish every transition shot out of like her like craziness is her eating a burrito. Yeah. That's my one critique of this film is there should have been more shots of burritos inserted of her eating a burrito.
So she's starting to get the hunger, and I don't know if she quite knows why yet, or if she's just in denial.
I think it's denial, personally, but yeah, once again, if you're fucked up all the time, I think she just runs 100% on grit, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, so she's having this struggle, and it doesn't feel good. So, and the aggression comes out again, so she ends up smashing her mirror.
Yeah.
And then, taking a shower, maybe trying to, like, wash away, like, all this just BS that she can't figure out.
She's got a walk of shame. She's doing the shower of shame. But I don't know how well it's working for her.
Yeah, I don't know if it's working for her.
But there's a great sequence where she's in her room trying to call Courtney. She's in her living room where the painting is.
Her living room, bedroom, studio.
It's all the $6,000 or $10,000 pad where she lives. And she's just walking in circles, and they're doing a very cool sound editing technique where they're kind of bouncing laughter and just kind of a cacophony of noise around in her head, and it's very effective.
I recommend watching this with surround sound if you can.
Yeah.
It's much better. It's still good if you don't, but if you have access to surround sound, it makes it even better.
Access to surround sound, or put your beats on.
Just put your beats on.
But get immersed in the sound.
Simulated surround sound.
We can't put over the sound design in this movie enough. Not just the music, but sound. Mm-hmm. The sound design. It all comes together with the lighting, the art design. It's just, this movie is beautiful. It's cool. It's still raw. It's hard to make a beautiful raw movie on. I'm sure they didn't have much of a budget, but goddamn, he pulled it off. But she's kind of having a breakdown, so she's calling Courtney saying, "What the fuck happened? I woke up covered in blood. I don't know. I don't remember what happened. Did you kill somebody last night?" Then, she's very aggressive at first, then kind of, is just like desperate. So then she calls Clive. She has a breakdown. She's fiending, essentially. She's going through withdrawal, but she thinks maybe it's from the Bliss, like you said. Is she still in denial?
I think she's still in denial right now. Yeah.
And then, once again, it seems like she's trying to paint, but maybe having more artistic block, or maybe painting a little bit. It's unclear, but then she blacks out completely. Time passes.
Clive wakes her up.
Clive wakes her up, but before that, in the scene where she's like rotating around and the camera's following her, she lets out like these banshee-like screams.
Yeah, her screams kind of like almost morph into other sound effects.
Yeah, it's very
become one, and then like it kind of becomes one and then separates again. It's a very chaotic scene.
It's very awesome. It's like I said, it's a cacophony of just immersion of noise. It's like an awesome noise rock track, mm-hmm. Like some fucking Big Black. But Clive does arrive after she passes out. She said she has a 24-hour blackout, and he's just trying to be there. Clive's trying to be a good guy here.
He's doing his best. He cares about her.
He's very bad at caring about people, but at least he's trying to care about her.
He's trying, yeah.
The intent is there, and I will give him a half a star. I'll give him a participation trophy for intent. But then she kind of dresses him down, and says, he's like, well, you got to get off this fucking Bliss. This Bliss is making you crazy. You're missing, there's chunks of your life. You don't know what the fuck's going on. You're waking up. He doesn't know about the blood. He doesn't know half the shit. But she's just enamored with her painting at this point. She realizes what's become of it. Points out, he's like, yeah, I know. And she's like, no, you don't see it. You don't understand it. You're not an artist. You don't struggle. You don't die for your art like I do. She's like, you're just a fucking bartender, who serves fucking drinks to losers, and kind of really dresses him down. And essentially, he kind of tells her to fuck off, which, I mean, I get where she's coming from, but plus she's going through some shit.
Yeah, she's going through some stuff.
But she was kind of harsh to Clive. I don't think Clive deserved that, especially after being there for her in her moment of need. So we see her looking for Courtney still. She's walking the street. She trying to call Courtney from a payphone, which I thought was cool because nobody uses payphones anymore.
Yeah. I wonder what time period this movie is in, because I think she carries a flip phone around the whole
She's
time.
got a flip phone and a payphone, but it also could be like she just lives
Just
like
one of those people.
how she wants to live. But yeah.
Sorry, those people. No.
Those anachronistic people who
All you
are
people. No.
who are living out of time. Get with the times. Everybody needs a touchscreen. You need a computer in your pocket. Come on, get with it. Flip phone people, I love you. Keep the flip phone.
Keep on flipping.
Keep on flipping, baby. But yeah, she walks by. She sees Courtney walk by. She grabs her and says, "What the fuck did you do to me?" And then you find out she was hallucinating, and it wasn't Courtney. So, and the girl that she grabs, I gotta say, this actress is great because it's such a great. Some people can flip the bird, and it's like okay, but this. The emphatic flipping of the bird. If there was like an Oscar or a Golden Globe for flipping the bird, I thought this girl should at least be nominated.
Best bird flip.
Best bird flip. Best fuck off finger finger gesture.
Best fingering. Yeah.
Best, no, that's a different award show.
Yeah, it might be a different
I think I don't know if that's this award show, but hey, who knows? We're progressing. Yeah. So no Courtney, she has what I call it seems to me like soul sickness. Like she doesn't know what the fuck's going on. To reiterate, she seems like a person that's always in control. Even when shit's going wrong, she's playing everybody. She's playing her landlord. She's playing her agent. She's playing her client. She's playing her boyfriend. She's playing her friends. That's what I respect about this. She's she knows who she is. She knows what to do. She knows how to own herself, own her womanhood, own her sexuality, own her artistic viewpoints, and she owns her life. And this, she has completely lost control. And she has hit what I refer to as the soul sickness or dope sickness. And she goes again to say Hadrian to get another fix of Bliss because she thinks this will help her. This will help her paint. This will help her get through this. And Hadrian kind of jumps in and says, I'll do what you want because I know you're just going to get it somewhere else. But I really don't think...
He's trying to look out for her, too.
He is.
I love this guy.
He's a good guy. And I can't...
I just want to be friends with him. And he's not even in the movie that much.
He's not...
He's such a cool dude.
He does. He's got good drugs, if you're into that. But he's got... I think it's his house. So there's a group of old men, if I can address this. Pops, Abe, and there's another guy, but Pops and Abe... And Pops is played by George Wendt, who played Norm in Cheers, and who's also in VFW, which is worth checking out, where he plays a Norm-like character. But I always call him Norm, but George Wendt is great. Anytime I see him, he was in, the House movie, and I just love George Wendt. So he's in this, and he's arguing. He's just playing a curmudgeon-y old guy, and you see him very early.
Just a couple guys that bicker all the time.
They just play poker.
Sometimes it escalates, but...
It escalates it's like old men bickering. I think they might be old vets, and they're just bickering with each other, and they fight and being curmudgeon assholes, and you see them early on in the film. But then when she comes back, it's escalated even further to where, Pops gets a gun pulled on him, and it's all in spite. He's never intended to use on him, but, they're just... what I call waving dicks around. They're testing each other, they're crotchety old men. And in
seeing how far they can push it.
Right. And in the pull apart where Hadrian tries to calm them down, he gets his nose fucking busted wide open. Just blood. And before this she was in the bathroom. Desi was in the bathroom puking, and it was great. Any movie that shows puking, not over the top puking, I'm not a fart and puke kind of comedy guy. I don't want to come off like that, but legitimate puking, I kind of appreciate. It's like a humanistic thing. I know it's kind of gross.
It's very I don't know, again, raw.
Yeah, it's raw.
Human. Everybody knows that feeling, and you can tell. I don't know. You can just tell when it's more on the real side. You can almost feel it.
She's puking, and she tells him, like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, he's trying to, like, help her, make sure she's all right. She's just like, would you give me some fucking privacy?
That's a good read, yeah. But, yeah, so she comes out. They're fighting. Fucking poor Hadrian gets elbowed in the fucking nose trying to break up these curmudgeons from fighting. I don't know if he lives with his parents or these are old people, old friends he just lets hang out in his house. But regardless, they're there, they fight. He tries to pull them apart, gets his nose broken, and it just starts gushing blood. He's like fucking gushing. And at this point, Desi knows what she needs. She's like fiend attacks him. Like it's a very like, almost like a caged animal. Just jumps on him and just starts fucking going after him and fucking bites his fingers off in like a grotesque, like the special effects in this movie. What did you think of the special effects in this movie?
They're very good. Yeah, they were very impressive, and I love that a lot of it seemed practical. I'm pretty sure a lot of it was. They're just. Though I just keep wanting to say raw. They're so raw, and even the sound effects again.
Yeah, the crunching and the gushing
and the slurping.
Yeah, it's very.
It's very good, and good special effects are all in the lighting.
Yes.
And they did a really good job in the scene, and it's a very bloody, violent.
You see the blood.
Scene.
Yeah, you see the blood, but it's darkened. Yeah, it's like
dark enough to where it looks very real and very nasty.
Yeah, it's very nasty.
They do a great job. I don't know who did the special effects side of things in there, but
hats off to you. Mm-hmm. But she bites off his fucking fingers and then proceeds, and the shot where she like rises like fucking Nosferatu, and it's like one of the best.
Harness like shot. It's kind of like the reverse of when she first tried Bliss and got knocked on her ass.
Now
this is like bringing her to life.
Right.
She's like.
Blood is bringing her to life. Mm-hmm. Bliss knocks her on her ass in the blood, but it's the mixture of blood and bliss that maybe is being creative. Is it just the blood? We're not sure, but
we don't know.
It's kind of ambiguous. But so poor Hadrian, who was just trying to help out his friend by weaning her off drugs, is sucked dry. Also, Pops is who was just in a heated argument with his friend, gets his fucking forearm ripped open. Poor Norm. And it's like arterial blood spray. So the difference in the realism of poor, Hadrian's death, but this is like Evil Dead over the top blood spray, but not too much. But it's great because it's just like flowing out of his fucking forearm, and Pops bites it. The bald gentleman walks in, and who is.
What was he doing? He was taking like a shit.
I think he ran out. I think he broke. He felt bad. No, he was going to get something to help his nose, to Adrian's nose. I think he was.
Right. Yeah,
he was going to.
Yeah, and he
was concerned. He come back and he's fucking dead. What the fuck's this guy? He's fucking bled out. Norm is bled out on the ground, and
like this poor guy left for like probably 40 seconds.
And like 75% of the people are dead.
Yeah, I felt so bad.
Or 50% of the people.
Like this guy, he just looks. I don't know. Anyway,
he was.
He walks back into like a madhouse.
This is a burly dude, and you think, okay, this guy's gonna put up a fight. He gets his ass handed to him, just like fucking bashed his brains up against the wall, and he was just an afterthought. She just sinks her teeth in, gets some of that blood. R.I.P. Abe. But Abe and Pops, they were just, they were just old dudes, and old dudes fight. And sometimes old dudes, if you're like a war guy, if you're an army guy, sometimes you pull a gun on your friend. You don't mean anything by it. And sometimes somebody's nose gets busted. I just think this was...
friendly bantering.
Yeah, I think this was a tragedy that could have been avoided. I think it was just a comedy of errors. Before she walks out, she snorts another line, one more for the road.
Oh yeah, after she gets her blood fixed, she's like, I better go give him Bliss. So.
Yeah, she likes to switch it up. Some people, they're one or the other, but she's 100% all the time.
Yeah, I think at this point she really knows, like, this is the combination that I need.
Yeah, I think this is the life for her. There's another cool shot. She's just got the blood dripping down her lips. She's in the car. She drives a convertible. As I was saying, she looks so cool in the car. It's an awesome, I'm not sure if it's Chevy, but the way it's framed looks fucking amazing. One of my favorite shots in the movie with like the green light reflecting on her, and I call it the Glampire. She's the Glampire shot. She's totally like fucking punk rock vampire.
She's got that natural glam.
She does have a natural glam. Some people try to achieve it, but Desi just owns it.
She lives it.
Yeah, and finally she goes home. It's more painting, more lighting up the fucking canvas, and it's like 3 a.m. at this point. So she's just going for it, and the landlord pounds on the door. Fucking, what are you doing? Yelling at her, runs in screaming, and she just turns around, gives him the fucking primal stare, and bam, paintbrush right to the fucking eye. Ocular terror.
I wouldn't say I liked it.
You loved it, I thought.
No,
yeah.
I did like it. Ocular terror, like, just freaks me out. And I think it does a lot of people. People don't like eye stuff.
I like eye stuff.
But no, I love it in the sense that it's, like, so fucked up and just so perfect for this movie.
And then, yeah, and well, I think it's the end of the landlord. We don't see him again. She pokes
his eye, and then she goes over and just like sticks her mouth all over it, just drinking from it.
Yeah, it was.
It's almost too much.
I loved it. It reminded me of. It seemed like a nod to From Beyond when Jeffrey Combs' character sucks the nurse's eye out. It was very reminiscent of that for me, and I thought that was fucking awesome. But I like extreme gore sometimes if it fits.
Me too. Yeah.
I don't look for a movie just because it's gory, but I like gore if it suits the story, and this totally does.
Definitely suits the story.
We don't see much of the landlord after that. I assume the rent has been paid. I think we're okay. So that conflict
I don't think he's worried about the rent anymore.
I think the conflict switches at this point from her just wanting to get the painting done and more of an obsession. Then it's no longer a need to, I mean, she has a need to survive. She needs blood, it seems, at this point. Pretty obvious that she needs that to keep going, but now it's like art for art's sake almost. And guess who comes up? Guess who comes crawling back? Her fucking shitty agent. Like, he's the biggest douchebag ever. He let her go, but now he comes crawling back.
Yeah, she blacks out, and then he wakes her up, doesn't he?
He wakes her up. He walks in, she's naked. She blacks out after, dismantling the landlord. And he wakes her ass up and says, "Oh, I'm back, and I'll take less of a percentage." And she tells him, like, "Fucking get bent. You suck. Like, I got this. Like, I talked to the client. I don't need you." I have some friends that are agents. There are good agents, and there are bad agents. Don't be a shitty agent. That's all I'm gonna say.
But yeah, he's pretty shitty. He doesn't listen to anything she says. He just kind of assumes that she's gonna come back too. Because even after everything they talk about, he leaves. He's like, "Oh, you've got you've got some like rebel streak in you right now."
Yeah, he's like, "This is what I was trying to do." He was trying to do this the entire time.
It's like it was his doing that sparked her or something.
Do you think the agent set up the Eurotrash vampire three-ways?
Maybe they know each other.
Yeah, maybe he was like, "Hey, turn her and get her fucking do this and we'll get the Bliss." Like, it was in his mind. That's what happened. It was all orchestrated.
He's like, "It's all me.
It's all me.
Orchestrated. He's a mastermind."
So no, this painting is awesome. It's just like a totem. It looks like a totem of souls. It's hard to describe. You really need to see the movie. But Chet Zar, he's the artist who did the painting for the film. He produced it. He also did his most known work, I would say, is he did some stuff for Tool, the Vicarious video from the 10,000 Days album, which is a really cool video. Even if you don't like Tool, just check out the video.
It's a cool video.
It's just an awesome video. But yeah, the painting is just really cool. It's just carnage. She snaps back into reality. It seems like she's denying what happened. She's trying to find her landlord. She's trying to find Hadrian. We don't know what happened to him. She's denying what happened.
She goes back to the house and stuff.
Yeah.
What's going on, guys?
Yeah, she checks on him. She finally finds Courtney and Ronnie, who she had been looking for, just chilling at a bar. Just like chilling. So
should have tried there first.
She should have went to the bar.
Why wasn't she just bar hopping?
She was trying to get the painting done. She was just getting.
She had some other focuses.
Right.
Okay.
And talks to Courtney and says like, "What shit did you give me? What do I need?" And she's like, "You know what you need. You're aware of what's going on. Don't stop being in denial."
Yeah, embrace it. She said.
Embrace it. And she's like a real shitty friend because like, when they made her, they didn't say like, "Oh, you're a vampire now. Here's like the rules. Here's this." It's just like, it was very
They almost seem to like almost get a pleasure maybe out of her
suffering.
Her suffering, yeah. Like, we're not going to let her know and just watch her kind of freak out until she figures it out.
They're very nonchalant about, like, their response to her going through this life and soul-altering experience. She's just like, you know. But a lot of people talk about, you know, use vampires as a device, like a plot device, or, you know, a narrative device to talk about addiction or, like, drug abuse. And it feels like maybe, you know, kind of heroin, you know, your friends that do heroin don't have your best interest in mind. They just want someone to do heroin with, you know. So, I mean, I don't have any friends that do heroin, but I'm just saying, like, heroin junkies, you know, they kind of, a lot of people, if you hear that have recovered, say, oh no, it was just a party. We just met and we did heroin, and all my friends now do heroin. And it's kind of seemed like maybe Courtney had become, you know, a vampire, and she didn't want to go through that alone. She still wanted a friend. So poor fucking Dizzy gets sucked up into it, you know? Yeah, so she pretty much tells her to fuck off, just leaves. It kind of
steals a free drink or two.
Takes her drink out of her hand
and drinks it.
Actually, she still
acts like she's in control.
She is in control. She's queen shit, but it's like, you don't fuck around with her. Even when she's going through, Desi Donahue is not a woman to be trifled with. Even when she's going through a soul-crushing life alteration of becoming a vampire, she's still got her. She's still got all grit. And like I said, I appreciate that about her. So she goes back home. Clive shows up, and she's fiending bad at this point. She really needs a hit. Though she is still all grit, she needs her drug, she needs her fix, and she knows this, and she's trying to get Clive to leave. She knows what is coming if he stays.
Yeah. So, after all this, he's, like, waiting for her outside her door to check on her. Even after, like...
He pretty much told her to fuck off.
The burn she laid down on him a day earlier or whatever. Yeah, he still comes by to check on her, and he's still... seems just as concerned and doesn't want to leave her.
I mean, I'm sure, you know, he knows he's got a cat. Even if she is a fucking vampire drug addict, it's the best. He's not doing better. And she's a good artist, and she's cool. So, yeah, he's got a catch there. He knows.
Yeah.
He's bad.
So, yeah, he's still trying to help her. And he does seem genuinely just like, holy shit, like, you pushed yourself too far.
Yeah, you need to get off. You need to fucking just relax.
At this point, she knows, too. She knows what she's going to do if he doesn't leave.
She knows what he's going to do, and... She
hasn't embraced it, I would say, but...
Maybe not quite, but, you know, he hangs around, she's there, and she goes for what I call the Achilles meal, and just fucking takes a big fucking
juicy
bite out of his fucking Achilles tendon.
I love how she spits it out.
And she spits it.
She, like, bites it and just, like, spits it across the room.
Right. And then...
kind of jumps him.
Yeah, jumps him and just gets all up in him, and you're like, oh, maybe, you know, maybe... and you notice she spits blood into his mouth and kind of feeds him some of the blood coming out of her mouth. And you're like, oh, okay, maybe, you know, what's going on here? And in a snap moment, if I can say, she just fucking cracks him open like a nutcracker.
Oh, yeah, I did not expect that the first time I saw him. Like, what is she doing to him? You know, I just couldn't figure out how she was gonna. She
makes him a Pez dispenser, a human Pez dispenser.
Yeah, it was very shocking. I haven't seen anything that actually kind of just surprised me that way.
Yeah, it was
in a while.
It was gritty.
Gore wise, like, that's not what I thought she was gonna do. It was great. It was so cool.
It was agorable.
Yeah. Aw.
Hashtag trademarked. So poor Clive has met his maker. Clive has died after he arrived. And then she went back to the bathroom, back to the mirror.
Yeah, she goes straight there this time. I can't really catch why. Usually she goes right into, like,
painting.
Bliss mode.
Bliss mode,
but I mean.
But I think
this time she's just like, it's
regret. Yeah. I think she's got regret for killing Clive.
Yeah,
and,
I think so too.
And she knew it was going to happen. She couldn't stop herself because she needed the fix. She got her fix. She goes into the bathroom, and you can tell it's immediate regret because she had grabbed the gun from the conflict earlier at Hadrian's house where she made a snack at everybody. The gun that was in question, she took with her, and she puts the fucking gun to her head. And in one of the most brutal
leading up to
scenes.
this, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just want to talk a little bit about leading up to this. The build up to her taking this gun out and putting it to her head is so good. It's like the perfect climax of audio, light, just everything is coming together right now.
And she's hearing Clive.
She's hearing Clive outside the door, banging on the door, because he's kind of maybe reanimated a little bit out there. So it's the perfect peak, I think, of the movie for just too much. It's just too much.
She snaps. She has a mental snap.
She does.
She reaches a breaking point.
Mm-hmm. And, I just want to talk about that. And you got to kind of see it and hear it to really understand it. But it's a full sensory peak to everything that's been building up.
This movie is like a crazy orgasmic rush of visuals and sound and like a Technicolor blood assault on all your senses in the best way. And this scene is one of the greatest hits. This is one of the singles off this album. I don't want to give too much away. I mean, we're giving the movie away. But she pulls the trigger. She pulls the trigger. Mm-hmm. And what you see, we can't do justice to what you see on screen.
Yeah. A brilliant mix of lighting. Again, lighting mixed with special effects and visual effects. They had just somebody wonderful who kind of put that together and did it in the way that every visual effects and special effects artist should combine those two things together. Because people talk a lot of shit on CG stuff, and I know some of it was CG.
But blended, the way it was blended.
But the way it was blended was just perfect. That's how it should be done.
And it's
very impressive.
The contortion of her mangled face is all I'll say. Mm-hmm. And how it is reconfigured is outstanding. It's got to be seen.
So good.
so she shoots herself, or you think, oh, that's it. And after
she gets her relief.
She gets her relief, but after a moment of brief silence, bam, she's back. She's like nothing ever fucking happened, and it's great. It's like I said, I can't say enough. It's one of the best scenes of the movie. And then she walks back into the living room, and then the room is like pulsating. It's like the ride. This movie is a lot like an acid trip or a roller coaster ride. As we're getting to the top and we're going down hills and we're going and the height gets higher and the dips get sharper and it's just fucking great. It's an awesome ride.
I remember when we first saw this, when I first saw it with you. Mm-hmm. At this point, I was thinking, where the fuck is this gonna even go next? Like, there's more time left in this movie, and I have no idea what's about to happen. I was like, that was just emotionally draining. It was just draining to see. But
I love that in a movie. That's what I want.
Well, that's what I search for.
Right,
That's what I want out of something, and I just love that feeling. The first time I'm watching something that's making me feel that way. But yeah, it's just like, what's gonna happen next? This is insane. Let's go.
And it's Clive. Clive is alive. It wasn't a hallucination. It was really there, and he gets on this high horse of, oh, you saved me, and I think maybe she did accidentally, or maybe she spit some blood in him. So I'm not the vampire lore. They kind of play a little fast and loose. They have their own rules, which I like. The vampire logic in this, but he is reanimated and as a vampire.
What I like is that there's never like the classic stereotypical shot of vampire teeth or something. Like, you don't even know if her teeth get any sharper. I get the feeling they don't.
Right.
She just uses what she's got in there, those choppers, and I don't know. But I'm really glad that they didn't do that.
They never
focus on any physical, not really any physical, like, body morphing.
No,
nothing like that.
It's all in acting, and that's why I was saying, like, the acting in this is great. It's all in her acting, and it's all in her transitioning from, just a fucking snarky, strong-willed artist who knows who she is and is a confident woman to a fucking animal, a beast, like a fucking wild. And she liked to party before, you know, no knock on that, but I'm saying, like, what she transformed into was just like a deity of destruction and like party. It's like she just loves a party. A literal party animal. And then
anyway, he's talking to her.
He's talking to her. He says, "Oh, I know why you saved me. We're gonna live together, and we're gonna feed off the blood. Or was it the blood, or was it the bliss that made you paint this amazing painting?" And she just says, "It was me." And Clive meets his second end when he is ungraciously speared from behind and essentially melts. He is slimed.
Yeah, and I love their decision on how to vanquish, not how to vanquish a vampire, but what it looks like when you do it. Because you get the one where it's like, oh, it goes up in like a puff of smoke.
Or dust, or the CG dust, which I always hated.
Yeah, I hate that. This is like foamy goop, like rotten milk or something.
Yeah,
like,
it's
so cool. I love it.
It's very cool. That once again, the special effects in this movie are amazing. And
good choices.
And who else could it be that staked Clive but Courtney? God, Courtney. She's so Courtney.
Walking in the room and just bringing herself.
I feel like an underlining connection here with, you know, Courtney and suicide, and there's an undertone that we're missing here, a connection somewhere, but you know, that's for other people to unpack, I believe. But she sucks. Courtney sucks. She shows up, she gets all bitchy, she's pretty much
she's like yelling at her. She's like, "There's rules. You can't just be like."
There's rules. It's like, bitch, you didn't say the rules.
Make a buffet out of the town or whatever.
Yeah,
like her line.
Yeah, that's what she was. Kind of gave her the look. Desi's like, bitch, you know, you. Not that I'm calling her a bitch. I'm just saying Desi's gave her the look like, oh, bitch, you didn't tell me any rules. You didn't. Yeah, and she didn't. She kind of sandbagged her with like, oh, well, you're a vampire now. Good luck.
Yeah.
No, like how to.
Like,
no
advice. Not even gonna tell her. Yeah, no. She kind of threw her out there. Now she's coming back around, thinking she can bitch at her.
She was the father that went to the gas station for cigarettes of vampires, or mother. Yeah, but very, very not cool. Did not raise her vamp baby very well. So it turns into the vamp fight, the glampire, vampire, punk rock, chick fight. They just fucking go at each other. It's like a fucking UFC, old school ECW wrestling match. Just blood and guts, and like it's fucking the choreography.
Very raw. Everything looks like all the hits look hard.
Yeah, fuck. They didn't. They did not hold back. You know, they knew what they were doing. Great choreography. It was amazing. I was really into it.
Yeah, I love the fight. It's not too over the top.
My favorite thing. It isn't too over the top. My favorite thing is Courtney says, "I'm gonna." I can't wait to get your blood inside of me. You drank one of her own, which is a cool turn on the, you know, whole vampire genre. She drank one of their own, taking blood out of Clive. She's all jacked up on Bliss and on blood. And Courtney's like, I'm going to bite off your fucking face and drink your blood. And after the fight, that's exactly what happens to Courtney. I love when the villains talk shit and the thing that they claim is going to happen to our hero happens to them. It's like the sweet irony, the bloody face-biting irony of it is fucking great. And I love it.
It's just so cool.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I love how this checkered, they do like an overhead shot,
I
think at this point, after Courtney turns into a pus bubble. And the floor is just covered in blood. It's just like all just blood and goop and just shit. No real shit though.
No, it's just
but you get what
viscera.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so. I mean, that kind of mirrors a shot earlier in the movie too, where they do an above shot with her on a clean checkered floor,
just covered in blood,
starting but having trouble getting anywhere. With the painting. But yeah, no. Now we're covered in blood and covered in inspiration.
It's great. It was amazing. And then this is the pièce de résistance of the film, in my opinion, where she's just going nuts with this painting. She's almost there. It's the painting has become this red canvas of souls rising up into this form, this tall form, and you can see it's starting to take like a human shape at the top of all the, like a mountain of souls, making a human figure. And one of my favorite scenes, completely, just not completely naked, but she's naked, she's just covered in blood, and just like throwing herself at the canvas. And it's very great, like just the music. The way she's dancing, it's just primal.
I love
and
the
brutal.
way it's edited. They have like these little, probably like, I don't know, 10 frame shots once in a while where she's just standing still, staring straight into the camera. And it's so creepy being like kind of intercut between so much insane movement. I love it. And like the shots that they're cutting in are like the final shots. Like in all the chaotic shots, she's not quite there yet, but you can see those little clips of her kind of emerging into it. It's just insane. It looks so good.
And you can see there's a great shot, a great sequence of all the victims she had taken after turning, crawling at her. Very reminiscent of Maniac, if anyone's seen Maniac out there. But it's a very, I like the nod. I don't know if intentional or subconscious, but I loved it. And they're all crawling to her, and then you see they're actually part of the painting. The souls, the painting itself is kind of absorbing the souls, or that's how I took it. Maybe not as literal, but, it's kind of implied. And you see her emerge. She looks like Lilith, the first fallen woman, so it's like, the mother of vampires, maybe not Lilith. She's still, she's still her. She's still Desi, but she's like Desi Lilith, or Desi is the queen of the vampires, or whatever these are, succubus. They never really come out and say vampire, but vampire tendencies. But I thought the painting was fucking amazing, and it's just her in front of her masterpiece. Earlier in the film, she says, "This is my masterpiece," and it's a very awesome, one of my favorite quotes in the entire movie, as she's like out of desperation.
Yeah.
And like
the way she says
entranced.
that is very eerie.
Yeah.
And it's pretty early on into the movie too. It's like after the first night or something that she blacks out, and it's so eerie the way she says it, like she already knows.
This movie is definitely a movie for artists.
Yeah.
But the final sequence, we see Desi, we see everyone dissipated. It's her in front of her finished work, and then she literally, like all good Shakespearean ends, meets her end by just exploding and the rest of her essence just spraying onto the canvas, which I thought was a cool way to end the movie.
Finishing touch.
The finishing touch, the pièce de la résistance. But
I love that she's smiling. She like knows.
She knows.
This is it.
And she's fine with that because she has died for her art.
Yeah.
She has become her art.
Yeah.
She lives on forever in that painting. Mm-hmm. She is immortal through art. And what more can an artist ask for?
So that was Bliss. I loved it when I initially saw it. I still love it. It's a great little movie, clearly made by artists with a punk rock aesthetic. I have loved all of Joe Begos and Company's movies that I've seen thus far, and I'm looking forward to everything he comes out with in the future. So far, I have seen his first movie, Almost Human, which I enjoyed. I missed The Mind's Eye, but I'm going to go back and catch that one. And VFW, I saw in the theater with Britt. We both enjoyed that one very much, so I recommend all his films. I would still say this one is my favorite of his that I've seen thus far, but it's really, really cool to see this guy out here producing crazy grindhouse indie style art with a new tinge to it, and I really, really dig him. Brittany, closing thoughts on the movie?
Well, I've come out of this film feeling creatively rejuvenated and inspired. I love when a movie can do that to me, or a music or a video game. It really has inspired me to be creative and just do something. So Bliss has opened me up to a few new favorites in the indie film scene, and I plan to follow them in the future. Joe Begos, Dora Madison, Graham Skipper I really liked. Really, the whole cast and crew in this movie just blew me away. Eventually, I'd love to see just a fully loaded special edition Blu-ray of this film with commentary and behind-the-scenes footage. Just everything they can possibly give me, I want it. And I have a feeling it's going to kind of gather maybe a bit of a cult following as we go along. It is still pretty new, so we'll see. I wanted to talk a little bit about the special and visual effect combination. It's the best I've seen in really a good while when it comes to movies like this, especially an indie movie with a smaller budget. The talents of Amanda Lewis, Josh and Sierra Russell, and Brandon Christensen all coming together to create this just gory, bloody combination of amazing goodness. I'm definitely going to follow those guys' work wherever they go, whatever direction they end up taking. But to wrap things up, Bliss is definitely a hell of a fun trip. So go buy it, stream it, download it, just make sure to watch it.
I agree with Britt when she says, let's get a balls to the wall release, either Scream Factory, Arrow, or both of all his movies. I want to see all the special effects, behind the scene featurettes. I love that kind of stuff. So we here at Signals from Pittsburgh both wholeheartedly endorse Joe Begos as a director and this movie. And until next time, remember, don't just look at art, see it and feel it. For Brittany, this is Mr. Will signing off. Have a great time out there in podcast land and stay safe.